rent control, what we call rent stabilization mostly here, has in my working lifetime gone back and forth in more, I think, in response to politics than maybe some other things. There was an extended period where a lot of the changes to the rent stabilization laws and regulations were fairly pro-owner. That has swung back in the last couple of years where rent regulation has become much more pro-tenant. In 2019, there were major amendments to the rent stabilization law that got rid of vacancy deregulation and got rid of high rent deregulation in multifamily properties, older buildings that are subject to rent stabilization. Since then, you have, one of the things that happened, for example, is that the ability to charge rent increases for making individual apartment improvements when an apartment became vacant became much more restricted. You know, you used to be able to spend, if you needed to spend $50,000 or $75,000 to gut out an apartment and replace it, you could divide the cost by 40 and add it to the next tenant's rent. Now, you can't recover the cost for more than $15,000 in a 15-year period, no matter what you have to spend. And what you can recover is about, 1/138th or something like that of what you spend. So what is reported in the last couple of years is that, tenant advocates will say that owners are holding properties off the rental market. Owners are saying we can't afford to renovate vacant apartments and appropriately rent them, so there's nothing we can do right now. What I've seen a little of in the last 6 months is there is, for example, and I don't know how much it can help, there is a proposed Citi program, I think that's going to go in effect over the summer, that will give owners money toward fixing apartments. The idea of that program is to rent those apartments to people with certain types of FEPS rent vouchers, so maybe geared toward a certain level of rentals. There was a very recent proposed statute in Albany, I don't know how far it will go, that if an apartment has been occupied for at least 10 years and becomes vacant, this proposed law says that the owner should be able to charge a new rent, a negotiated rent that would be subject to either audit by the DHCR, the state rent agency, to see if it's within the range of what similar housing accommodations are going for, and it can be subject also to tenant challenge. So there is starting to be a bit of chipping away at what happened several years ago, but things aren't really moving so much right now.